State.
Now you're more fluent.
He's got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Wow.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with my great friend, former Milwaukee Bucks legend Paul Mokeski, coming to you on a Monday evening. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Big Mo, always good to see you, my friend.
Yep, it's we finally got a couple games, NBA games, finally. It took them forever. Man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's I just don't know what to say, Mo, about this has been, we're only 2 games in, and this thing may heat up. But the playoff, this finals is really off to a funky, kind of clunky start.
Yeah, part of it is how they started it. I mean, Boston had 10 days off, and Dallas had 7. That's unheard of. Those teams haven't had that many days off since last summer. I mean, even if you start 4 days, I mean, that makes no sense. And TV my butt. I mean, don't tell me they didn't have TV time broke up for, game 6 or game 7 or whatever for the finals in the West or East. They had those booked. All they had to do is just change them and fill them in. And I don't know why. I'm a NBA fan, and I forgot they were still playing.
It is. I mean, Mo, this has been they have really mismanaged it in terms of marketing this series, which usually the NBA does a great job of, but spreading these games out way too long is costing them. The first round of TV ratings are way down. Lowest rated finals since 2007 so far.
So this is what it used to be, right? You're getting a 7-game series. When you play game 1, you play game 2 2 days later. Then you have 2 days off before you go on the road and play games 3. Then a day off and play game 4. Then another 2 days off and play game 5 because you got to travel. And then it goes back and forth like that. But this is, it's mind-boggling to me. I don't understand this at all.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna get to we're gonna definitely dig in on the finals. I got a ton of questions for you, and also I want to ask you about Dallas. Having worked in the Dallas front office yourself, and you went to a finals with Dallas. What that town is like during the playoffs, but before during the finals, I know the Cowboys have such a huge presence there. I'm wondering how much love the Mavericks get from the
a lot. It's huge. A lot. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, but the news of the day, Mo, is the Lakers got. Nah, that's okay.
Again. Ty Lue. No, thank you.
The premier franchise in the NBA with arguably one of the no doubt one of the greatest players of all time. They can't get nobody to coach him.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
Said no. I'm going
that's part
back
of the problem.
to UConn.
They got one of the greatest players of all time who seems to everybody out on the outside, including me, that he runs the show. And he's drawing up plays. And he's saying how it's going. And that's a problem for any coach, let alone a college coach. The college coach could not handle that. The college coach going to the NBA is going to be tough anyway. But if you have a player there that it seems to me like he runs the show and has input on everything, and that's a problem. And, if I'm sitting on a $32 million contract back to UConn, which, by the way, he's going to renegotiate. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Yeah. So why am I going to put myself in that situation no matter? And I lived in LA. I coached in Anaheim, beautiful. You got the beach, it's the Lakers, but you got to strip it down and behind the curtain. Okay, you got to go to practice every day. And, in the back of your head, I guess you're wondering, I hope I'm making LeBron happy, instead of I hope we're winning. And that's a problem.
Yeah. And Mo, the governor of Connecticut said, we're going to make sure he is the highest paid coach in college basketball. So we're going to see. He's guaranteed that by the governor of Connecticut.
Well, he's going to have to almost triple his contract. That's what he's going to have to do.
Hey, this is interesting. What's up, Steve? Steve was actually early tonight. He's trying to make the team now. He damn near got cut. He was showing up so much.
No, early's on time and on time is late. Sorry, Steve. But you did good. But let's talk, Ricky, right? So Dan Hurley he signed a contract last year for UConn, $32 million, 6-year deal. That's $5.3 million a year. That's what that is. Now they're going to renegotiate because really he's one of the highest paid, not like blue blood team college coaches. So the highest paid coach in college is my guy, Bill Self at Kansas, at $9.6 million. That's almost $10 million a year, right? And Calipari's at Kentucky making $8.5. Izzo's at Michigan State making $6.1. Pearl's at Auburn making $5.7. Barnes is at Tennessee making $5.7. Those are all high level colleges, higher than UConn, right? Bigger NIL, bigger backing. The next guy that's in UConn's area is Coach Drew at Baylor. He's making 5.7. And Hurley's making 5. He made $5 million this year. So that's going to go up. And when you look at Illinois, the coach there's 4.7. The only next guy that's making that kind of money in that level is Houston's Coach Sampson, who's making 4.6 million. So, I like it, Governor, whatever you're saying, but you're going to have to double that. So you're going to have to add, say another 30 mil on that. Let's see that.
Taxes going up in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, and people ask me, well, how could you turn down? You're looking at, the Laker deal was $70 million for 6 years, right? That's $11.5 million a year. That's a lot of money. But how much more is that? You're going to make 6 or 7 or 8, or what's the difference? I mean, at some point you're set for life, right? Anyway. Right. So it comes down to lifestyle, what you're comfortable with, the situation, and no matter what he does, he's going to be set for life. His kids are going to be set for life, and even after this 6-year deal or whatever he increases at UConn, he's not going to be done coaching anyway. He's not that old. So, I think it came down to comfort level, and do I want to deal with the situation? We've talked about college coaching as opposed to NBA pro coaching, and it's a different game. It's a different ball game. In college, who is the face of your team? The head coach.
Tom Izzo. They come in there. Tom Izzo in Michigan State versus.
Yeah. So you say UConn, you say the coach.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley is the face. Well, you go to Lakers, you ain't the face anymore. LeBron, AD, maybe another free agent you bring in. So you're not the face anymore. So guess what? You don't have power. And even if they sign you to that contract and you make $11 million a year, LeBron's going to make $60 million next year. So guess who loses any arguments? So now, in college, you stay longer. In the NBA, you coach of the year 1 year, fired the next year. That's how it goes. In college, you run the show. The players play for you. You have the roster. You're the one that controls the roster. In the NBA, you don't control the roster. The GM does and the owner. Right. Now I know the game has changed. College has changed. NIL money has changed. You become a fundraiser, and you got to deal with grades, and you got to deal with AAU stuff and recruiting. Okay, that's great. But if you go to the NBA, you got to deal with, I'm not the face of this team. I don't make the most money. I don't make the decisions on my roster for the most part. I have input. I don't make the final decision.
Yeah.
And guess what? I have to deal with salary caps, contracts, egos, agents, all this stuff. And now you're in LA, and all the pressure you're going to be under. So, it's a different ball game. I think he made the right decision. The Lakers are in tough bind right now. I mean, I guess they're going to interview JJ Redick officially now, and a couple other assistants, but they've missed on hitting their target so many times already as coach go.
I want to address this comment Steve has here about LeBron James being a cancer.
I don't think he's a cancer, but I think he's something you have to put in the in the scenario of how is it going to go, because, and let's face it, I mean, if you watch LeBron play and you watch any of his stuff where he talks about basketball, he's a high basketball IQ guy, especially for a player, really high. And so that's a problem because your best player and actually, if Hurley goes there, LeBron knows more than Hurley right now because Hurley's never coached in the NBA. Now, Hurley he's a really good offensive guy and has his schemes and all this stuff. That's great. You don't know more than LeBron about the NBA game. Sorry. So that's the scenario you have. Now, I don't know LeBron. I've never talked to him. I've met him a couple of times, but I never talked to him. I don't know what kind of guy he is. I don't know if he's taken over the huddle sometime because maybe he had to because the other coach wasn't doing it. I don't know if he's a guy in practice. I've seen it before, man. You got a coach saying, hey, do this, and they just go tell you to go jump in a lake, and not those terms, by the way. And now you're going to have a confrontation. You got to fine him. You're going to have a whole deal going on. I don't know if he's that guy or he's the guy that just wants to win. So, but that's a big question mark.
Yeah, I thought that's an interesting take, Mo, because the guy plays the right way. He's not a selfish ball on the court. He's not a selfish ball player. When he was younger, he was a great defender. He did everything when he was younger. He takes some players off on defense now, but he's always played the right way. But off the court,
yeah. I mean, and here he also plays really, really hard. Look at him. He's almost 40. I don't know how old he is. He's almost 40. Look how hard he plays still. That's something. That's huge. But at the same time, you get what you get on the court for 2 hours a night. You have practice, you have travel, you have locker room, you have video room, you have film room, you have all this other stuff. You have meetings that all comes into play, and that's where personalities come into play. There's more personalities in the NBA. Players have more say, more than ever now. And in college, if you're the coach in college and the player, be quiet, sit down. This is my team. And that's what happens. Or else you just kick them off the team. You can't do that in the
NBA. Derek Joseph Chivas. My guy Mo.
What's
it's
up?
been long. Good to see and hear your wisdom. Mark Jackson is a perfect fit for LBJ. And the Lakers.
Up? What's up, Derek? Yeah, Derek and I played together in Cleveland. He's a Missouri guy, but I love him anyway. It's good to have you, Derek, man. I love Mark Jackson. The problem, Derek, is he kind of rubs people the wrong way. Not only just players, I think the players like him, but the front office. Now, and that's where LeBron comes in, Derek. I mean, you know how that goes, right? You got a guy that's not happy getting told what to do, in certain situations. But it's amazing to me that Mark Jackson doesn't have a job. He did a great job in Golden State. He's like Thibodeau. That everyone's on Thibodeau. What a great job he did with the Knicks, and making all this happen. And Mark Jackson's the same way, but he hasn't had an opportunity. That when they used to put our names on the back of those Nikes, man.
Hey, thanks, Derek, for checking in with us, brother.
Love you,
we
brother.
here every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man.
Hey, D, message me or whatever your number, and we'll get you on the show here for sure.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. Hey, but Mo, they gotta do something.
I mean, that they're talking about they want to have a coach in place by draft, which is in a few weeks.
I think
And
the 24th, maybe. Is the
yeah,
draft.
so but that if they, and I understand that, but they're going to have to. I mean, they have to have some people in here this week. I mean, you got to get some people there. I know that they're talking about the assistant in New Orleans. I know they're talking about JJ Redick. I don't know who else is on their radar, but you know, they got to be fast with their decision, but they can't be hasty and not do their background because I mean, they're already paying three coaches. They're going to pay another fourth. I mean, they've moved the coaching in the head coaching position in Lakers is, like musical chairs. I mean, they've, over the last 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, it's been crazy, and they really got to make the right decision this time. I mean, it's interesting. Like Darvin Ham just got picked up today. He's going to go be an assistant with Doc Rivers in Milwaukee.
Hey,
And
hey,
and he did a good job, I thought.
yeah.
But
Hey, Mo, if you got that job as coach of the Lakers, what I know you're going to call LeBron and say, "Hey, let's go to lunch." What's that conversation like?
I want to get him out of the office, out of his house. I want to get him away from everything. Maybe some cliff somewhere overlooking the ocean. I won't throw him off the cliff. No, I just want to get him away from everything. And I want to talk to him about where are you now? Tell me about where you want to go with this team. Number one, tell me about things that were done well over the last few years and things that you think weren't done well. And we can talk about all that and get to where we want to get. And you're going to say, I can tell you right now, you're going to say you want to win another championship. So what's the best route to do this? And we're going to exchange ideas, and I'm going to talk to him about my system and how I think I can utilize not only him but the other guys, because LeBron is unselfish. And if you put all the other guys and LeBron in a situation where everyone can be successful, but you can't just sit around and play one-on-one or feed AD the ball in the post and go to work. That's bull crap. You need movement. You need motion. You want to have some, I don't call them plays anymore. I call them actions. Whether it's a double staggered away and AD gets the ball at the top and then does a handoff, whatever that is, you got to have some action so the defense is not keying up on you. When you watch the Celtics, they're keying up on Kyrie and they're keying up on Luka now. You can see it. They play boxes and elbows and boxes. That's the free throw line corners and the boxes on the bottom. There's 4 guys there. That's called boxes and elbows, and that's what they're doing. You can't let teams do that. So, that's part of my conversation. And then how are we going to do this together? Then I'm bringing in AD and what other parts that I think we're going to have, and then we go from there. But first you got to talk to LeBron and see where he's at, and I'm going to ask him, what do you think was good? What do you think was bad? Now I'm not saying I'm going to believe it all, but I'm going to ask him,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have strong opinions. Well, you say, okay, one of the bad things was blah blah blah. And, I've been coaching for 20 years. That might be not as bad as you think. Maybe we need stuff like that. That kind of conversation. I don't know LeBron, but any logical person would be okay with that, I think.
Yeah.
But that's why, Ricky, it helps. You got to be knowledgeable. They got to trust you. But that's why they wanted Ty Lue. Like if I'm coaching big guys in the NBA, and I tell them, hey, you need a 3/4, you need to do this, you need to bottom out. They know I did it at the highest level, right? I did it. There's not some little coach telling them, hey, you gotta get around Shaq. Okay, you try to get around Shaq, But they know I've done it, so there's some respect there.
Right.
I guarded Kareem, I guarded Moses, I guarded Hakeem, so there's some respect. So the same thing goes for coaching. And if you can get a coach, that has a ring, that has a ring, they get respect right off the bat. Not as much respect now because LeBron has rings and AD has a ring, but it still has respect value.
Hey, and Cosmo, as you said before on the show, they NBA players know 15 minutes into a practice if you know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the way you communicate it. So like in the NBA and really in college, but really in the NBA, like I said before, players have to let you coach them. They have to let you coach them, or else they're just going to shut you out and ignore you. And that's why when they say, well, the coach lost the locker room because they're not listening to them anymore. They have to let you coach them. And the only way to do that is if you communicate the right way and you know what the hell you're talking about, or else they'll know right off the bat. They'll know, number one, they'll know he knows his stuff or he doesn't know his stuff. And then they can go to, well, he's an ass and I don't want to listen to him, or, hey, he's communicating the right way. I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah. And hey, and once again, welcome everybody. We love to hear your questions and comments here on We Got Next on Sports Fluent. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. We're here every Monday evening. And Derek says, Mo, that sounds like Mark Jackson.
You might be right, D. Yeah.
And Steve just said that there's a report out that Mark Jackson may get an interview for the Lakers job.
I hope so.
What age? Thanks for checking in. Remember when the Lakers were the place to be? That Rich Farm, remember. I mean, he's got a point there. That's the premier team in the NBA, right? I mean, Boston and great legacies there. Nobody wants the job.
Well, because of the history of what's gone on lately, and it's been a cluster. I mean, coaches are getting fired left and right. That's why that's why you got to have those long-term deals, so you're protected. So, okay, you're going to fire me. You're going to pay me another $40 million. Okay, I'll go later.
But when does Pelinka take some responsibility for some of this?
Well, I think,
and Pelinka is, of course, the GM for the Lakers for viewers out there.
Yeah, so there's like the GM owner, and if you're San Antonio with Popovich, you have a say, but mostly the GM, director of player personnel, and the owner are the one that's bringing the roster together. And I think a lot of times they're looking at, pieces that fit, on the court. We need a couple of shooters. We need a wing defender. We need a legitimate rim protector, stuff like that, and get these pieces together. But a lot of times they're not thinking about the personal and emotional makeup of those players, because that's important. Like we've talked before about accepting your role. Everybody knows their role, but it's accepting it. And you get guys that will accept it, then you got something. I mean, I was listening to Porzingis, with Boston, and he was drafted by the Knicks and one of their featured guys for a while. Then they lost hope. Then he went to the Washington, and then he averaged like 22 and 12 or whatever, but they didn't want him. Then he was at Dallas first, and he was with Luka, and they were the next Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, and that didn't work. And a lot of it, I think, was probably Porzingis's ego and his perception of what he was. In Dallas with Luka, he was not happy not getting the ball all the time, because guess what? Luka has the ball in his hands 80% of the time. There's only another 20%, so he wasn't happy with that. But now, he's in Boston where, you got Tatum and Brown and Holiday. I mean, my gosh. And all those guys are playing their roles. And now Porzingis came in and said, listen, I'm going to do what you want me to do, and I'll be happy doing it because we can win. And I heard somebody say, you know what? If Porzingis would have went to Boston, say from the Knicks, it wouldn't have worked so well, because he's like, why the hell is Tatum going one-on-one? Why is Brown going on one? When is Holiday going to pass me the damn ball? That goes with his attitude. And I think his timing is right to accept his role now, and he's playing the hell out of it. So, I think the Lakers roster is gotten better. but I think those egos and roles, are not what they should be. And D'Angelo Russell in my opinion, is not a reliable guard. In my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Mo. Mo, I think they had a really good coach in Frank Vogel. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, they did. They won a championship, right?
yeah,
And 2 years later, he was gone, right?
yeah,
I mean, coaching is a tough business, man.
yeah,
You get let go for all kinds of reasons that don't make sense. I mean, I've talked to Izzo. I've talked to other college coaches about moving up to the NBA, and I'm like, you know what? You know how it is where you're at. Well, it's not all peaches and cream in the NBA either, and you don't have much control. And it's a hard job. And I don't know how many. That'd be a great. Maybe I'll look it up. How many coaches of the year in the NBA have been fired within the next 2 years? Lots and lots and lots. Avery
yeah,
Johnson was lots and
yeah.
lots and lots.
Dwayne Casey here in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be a good blend of everything, and that the thing that people don't realize either. So Darvin Ham got let go. He's going to make millions of dollars more, and he's now going to join Doc Rivers' staff in Milwaukee. All those other assistants are out of jobs. I will see all those other assistants with the Lakers here in Vegas at the Summer League looking for jobs.
Yeah,
That's the tough part.
Hey, I want to get to this. I want to get to the finals. We got some good comments here. I'm going to put those comments on hold for a second. I want to jump over to the news out of the WNBA. Well, not necessarily WNBA, but women's basketball. And the official announcement of the women's USA team has not come out yet. But it's been reported that Caitlin Clark didn't make the team, but she's going to be the number one alternate for the team. I actually loved her response. Somebody asked her about it. She said, "Hey, that's just great. That makes me hungry. I can't wait to show them what I can do. It's going to make me work harder." I loved hearing that from her.
Yeah, she was professional. I mean, she's been in a microscope for years now. It's nothing new to her. And a lot of people try to dredge up all this stuff to make some controversy over stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's worked before, and it's the black-white thing, too, and all this stuff. And now she ain't no angel now. She trash talk, as you can see.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? That little bump she got, she might have earned that, and it wasn't that bad anyway. But, it seems like but she's handled it really well. And, I coached for the Great Britain Olympic team in 2012 in London. So I've been through the process. Chris Finch was our head coach. Nick Nurse was our other assistant. And we went through the process of, you get 12 active players and then you get 3 alternates. And if someone gets hurt or something happens, you can replace those roster spots with alternates up to a certain point. And that's probably a couple of weeks before the Olympics. Then you have to send in your 12, and that's it. If 3 people get hurt, that's it. You got 9 people. That's what happens. So, and it's not been official from USA Basketball, but it's pretty clear that that's what it looks like. And I mean, there's a couple conversations, Ricky, right? If we're talking purely basketball, Caitlin Clark should not be on that team, right? I mean, you're looking at, Asia Wilson, she's averaging 28-12, and Stewart's averaging 19-10, and Taurasi's averaging 17-5, and Brittany Griner's averaging 18 and 7. All these players that are on this are averaging 18 points and double-figure rebounds, pretty much, that are ahead of her, right? So they deserve to be, and but people think, well, what about promoting the game? And if it's a no-brainer, you're gonna. I mean, look at Indiana Fever are terrible, and they got 17,000 at one of their games. So if you want to promote the game, maybe just put her on there. But then again, guess what you have to deal with? Why isn't Caitlin playing? Why is she on the bench? Why is she in the game? Why? Because she's not going to be a starter, and she probably won't be in your rotation. She'll be like Christian Laettner, right? Who was just on the team and never really played except in blowouts. So do you want to deal with that? But The other thing, though, because Chelsea Gray, who's here in Las Vegas playing, really good point guard. She's strong. She's tough. She can score. She's really good. Like one of the best point guards in the league by far. But she's been hurt. She hasn't played at all this year. Her ankle's been hurt. So the Olympics are like less than 2 months away. So if she can't play, then as a coach or as a staff, I'm looking at, well, what do we need? So Caitlin Clark's not going to be our starter. She's not going to be in our 8-person rotation. But so this is how I coach. What do I want my 10th, 11th, 12th player to be? Well, I want them to be, maybe a 7-foot shot blocking rim protector, maybe a defensive guy that could go in and stop players. I want them to do something that my starters can't do at that level. Well, one thing that Caitlin Clark can do, she can shoot the heck out of the ball and from deep. Now she's skinny. Olympic basketball is physical, but she can shoot from 30 feet away. So if I want to, maybe she's really skinny, but I'm not playing her. She's not in my 8-person rotation or 9, but Lithuania comes and they got this kick-ass zone that we can't beat. Caitlin, get in there. Get to the corner, play some of that, knock down some threes. Okay, I got a weapon that I might not normally have. So that's the other basketball thing that if I'm coaching that, you're going to have to put up with it, though. Caitlin came in the other night and hit down 2 threes. Why isn't she starting? Why isn't she playing? You're going to have to deal with that the rest of the Olympics.
Mo, you know what? I love the way you talk about roster construction and some of those. I'm thinking about they needed you helping pick rosters on some of those USA teams that struggled early in the turn of the century with Allen Iverson and some of these guys that were tremendous scorers, but nobody could shoot jumpers against the zone.
I mean, the NBA game now, the FIBA game is really relied on 3-point shooting. The line is closer. So you think it'd be theoretically that's better, right? No, because rotations are shorter now to get out to contest your shot. So you really have to spread the floor. And it always mind-boggled me that Team USA didn't get bigger, stronger physical bigs because that's what Europe has. Europe has a bunch of joker. They have all the, 7-foot, 7'1" guys. Look at Lithuania. Look at Russia. They're all 7', 7'1", 280, and they're physical as hell. So you need one of those guys. AD can't handle that. And the other thing was shooting, knockdown shooting. That's, you got guys that can bomb threes from everywhere. That's what you want, and some of those spots are filled with some questionable guys that don't fit that. When I put together a roster, say I'm in the G League and I got 10 spots, I want 2 legitimate point guards and a third player that can handle the ball and play point if I need them. I want 3 wings that can, play the wing position offensively and defensively. So that's a carryover. One of my wings is probably going to have to be my third point guard. I got to think about that. I want a legitimate 5 that's big and strong and physical. Then I want a stretch 5. Then I want a 4 that can move to 5 if I need them. And now I got everything covered. You got to think about that.
Well, that is good stuff.
You got players that can play multiple positions, right? And that's what you want. I mean, hell, if you had, say, Brooke Lopez or I don't know, somebody big physical like that, you could play joker next to him, right? I mean, it struggled defensively against penetration, but you could still do that. But the FIBA game is different than the NBA game.
Hey, let's get to the finals, and it'll be a game Wednesday, everybody. I mean, after everybody gets back from the Cayman Islands or wherever they are, relaxing, it will be. But Mo, Steve has another great point here. He was fantastic the other night, and he would look good in a Buck uniform. Hey, Mo, just going back to Milwaukee right quick. Were they better with? Is this even a fair comparison? Were they better with that? Was that team better with Drew Holiday or Dame Lillard?
Obviously, they're better with them because they're not
I
playing
mean,
anymore. But, you know, you could see why Milwaukee made that move because, first of all, it's on Giannis, by the way. Because remember last summer? Remember when he had an interview and he said, you know what? They asked him, are you staying in Milwaukee? Well, I want to stay in Milwaukee, but we got to make some, some decisions about making it to the next level and getting back to the finals. Remember that? Those were hints at, guess what, GM? Make some damn moves or I'm out of here. That's what that meant. So what he did was he thought he did the best thing. And Damian Lillard's one of the best offensive players in the league. But he's small and he's not a defender. So you gave up a player that can score. He scored 28 the other night in the finals, and he can defend anybody, and he can get to the basket. For a guy that can score 50, maybe, doesn't guard very well, and is really small. So, they made that move. And still give it a little time to see if it works next year. It doesn't seem like it, but I'm telling you right now, those GMs and that owner is going, probably shouldn't have done that, should we? Maybe not. And guess who's on the line? That GM probably going, oh.
hey,
My guy Griffin paid for that.
Yeah.
He was winning 60-something, 70% of his team, and he, they weren't gelling, and he cost him his job.
Yeah, and Mo, I think he was either 30-13 or 33-13.
Yep.
And
it was his fault, right? It was his fault that Lillard can't guard anybody. It was his fault that Lillard was unhappy in Milwaukee, because he had nothing to do and his family wasn't there. I mean, whoa. Let's not go there.
Hey, Mo, let's get to the finals. Your thoughts of the first two games, and what do you expect to see on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, it was mind-boggling and frustrating that it took them so long to play the first game. I mean, Boston had 10 days off, and Milwaukee I wish Milwaukee had Dallas had 7 days off. That's unheard of. No players get that, not anywhere during the season. And I don't know why that was done. People say it was TV. No, it wasn't. You don't think they had TV spots for game 6 or 7 of the West or East finals? So sure they did. They could have plugged the finals in there. I don't know why they didn't, but they didn't. So everybody in my mind forgot that they were still playing. I almost forgot. And then game 1, with the way the Celtics came out, which is mind-boggling to me, two things. I thought they were going to be more rusty and Dallas could jump on them. Also, I thought Porzingis was going to feel his way back in, and he was blocking shots and he was doing everything in the first quarter of the first game, and it put the Mavericks down by 20, 29, whatever. And at halftime, I was sitting with some friends, and I asked them, hey, what's the point? What's the odds you can get for Dallas coming back and winning this thing? I think it was 10-1. I said, I might put $20 on that because, they cut it to 8. They cut it to 8 with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And instead of closing the quarter strong, they let Boston get on a roll and bring it back up to 20. And that was too much for them to come back from. So, Dallas made mistakes. In game 2, I thought Dallas came out ready to play. I don't think they were consistent enough. I think Luka's banged up a little bit. And I'm going to put it on his shoulders. Kyrie is horrible. Kyrie is terrible. I mean, you look at Kyrie Irving is averaging 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists in this series, 2 games. You know what he averaged in the finals in the West? He averaged 28 points and 4 rebounds and 5 assists. 28 points. And that's how they got to the finals. And he's not showing up. He's shooting 35% from the field, 13 for 37, and he's shooting 0% from the three-point line, 0 for 8. Not one. He hasn't made a 3. So that's come on. He's missing layups. In the other series, he shot 50% from the field and 39% from the 3. So, and I put it out there, if Kyrie doesn't step up his game, Dallas has no chance. Now, either going home if he does step up his game, they have a chance. Of course, they can win at home in Dallas. They've proven that, but they got to play better. And Boston hasn't played great. Brown has played great. Porzingis has played great till I think he tweaked his leg again, so that's going to be a concern.
You said he will play tomorrow.
Yeah, but sure you can play, but how healthy are you? I mean, and will you pop that thing all the way? That could happen. It's a calf, and that could happen. So he's going to play, but who knows how? I mean, he was blocking shots, protecting. He was running everywhere.
Right.
And here's the difference. And when I watch these games, like you saw, one of the best teams in the league, Minnesota, not handle Dallas. They couldn't handle Luka in pick and rolls. They couldn't handle Kyrie in the open court. And Gafford and Lively and all these guys, they're throwing lobs and dunking all over everybody. How many dunks have they had in the last 2 games? 2 dunks. Yeah. And that's because Boston is switching pick and rolls. Minnesota played back with their bigs, and then Luka would just snake it and get the guy in his back and go one-on-one, either make a floater or throw a lob for a dunk. Well, Boston's not doing that. They're switching. Switching.
But isn't that a personnel decision too?
Partly, but Minnesota should have switched. I mean, switch off when the big rolls front them, but they're not going to throw it to him. Let their bigs, Minnesota's bigs, try to stay in front of those guys best they can and go, because, well, it is personal, but is our Cat and those bigs, are they slower than 40-year-old, 38-year-old Horford? Are they slower than him? No. But Horford and Porzingis are switching on Luka and Kyrie, and they're not getting beat that bad. They're just not getting beat that bad. They're staying, they're containing, they got help. I mean, I think it was game 1, they had 9 block shots. From everybody, though. Porzingis blocked 3. Brown blocked 1. Tatum blocked 2. Everyone was blocking shots. Everyone was protecting the rim.
I've never seen Porzingis that active on the defensive end.
And but don't get it wrong now. He's not in Dallas partly because of Luka, partly because of Mark Cuban. And he knows that. He knows Luka's on the floor, and he knows Mark's over there behind the bench watching. So he's proving him, hey, you should have never let me go. That happens all the time.
Yeah. Hey, they're going back to Dallas. Last time Dallas was in the finals, you were there with them. And I'm just curious about when they go home, what kind of support they're going to get. The Dallas Cowboys are America's football team, so they say. I mean, they are a big, big deal. Do the Mavericks get overshadowed, or will they get their love when they get home?
No, and I wasn't there they won a championship a few years back.
Oh, yeah, right.
After I left. But, yeah, I mean, you know what else Dallas likes? A winner. And when's the last time the Dallas Cowboys were in the Super Bowl? So, at first when I got there, we had Steve Nash and Dirk, and we were okay. We won the first round the first time. Then went through. It was still overshadowed by the Cowboys, but no more. We went to the finals against Miami Heat. They won a championship against the Miami Heat a couple of years later, and they get their love. The town goes crazy. I mean, I remember we had beaten Phoenix in the West Finals in Phoenix, and we flew back to Dallas that night with the trophy. And when we circled the airport, there was probably 5,000 people at the airport waiting for us. And it's a big jet, right? It's a big private jet. 737 supposed to, but we buzzed the airfield. I mean, we tilted and buzzed the airfield, and so yeah, Dallas, that place gets loud. It got loud when I was there. It's even louder now, more loud now, and they're getting their love, and it's going to be crazy in there. It was crazy in Boston. It'll be just as crazy in Dallas, even more so. But I've told you this a long time, Ricky. Right? In my opinion, 7-game series. In the NBA, the odd number games are the most important. Game 1, you set the tone. You either go up one or you're down one. You set the tone. Game 3, you're either going to go up 3-0 or 3-2 or down 0-3 and down 2-3. So that's a shift in the series.
Right.
And then game 5 is pretty much the game. If you get to game 5, it's pretty much you're going to win it or you're going to, be down 4-1, whatever. I mean, 3-2. That's game 5 wins a lot of series. And of course, game 7. So game 3, if Boston wins game 3, it's over. It's over. And Dallas knows that. But if Dallas wins game 3, they're thinking, like everybody does, right? A 7-game series never starts till someone gets beat on their home court. And we got to protect our home court. So we win game 3 at home. We can definitely win game 4. And now it's even. It's a 3-game series. That's what you're looking for.
Well, I never thought about looking at those games like that, but that makes perfect sense. 1, 3, 5, and 7.
It's momentum, and it's situation now. The pressure is not on Boston until game 5, because they can lose game 3. We're still up 2-1. They can lose game 4. It's still even. We're going home, and we have home court. So the pressure's not really on them. But then, if you do get to a game 5, now the pressure shifts. And I'm telling you, momentum and pressure is real. I don't care how smooth you are or how cool you are, you're still thinking that. Especially now when you got 80 days between games to think about it. I used to love when, we play a game, we get a day off and play another game, get a day off. Now you don't have time to think about it. You got 3-4 days off, and you're like, can you sleep? What are you thinking about? What do I got to do? What if we lose? Golly.
So what kind of days are the staffs putting in right now with all this time?
Well, most of the stuff has been done as far as scouting reports and everything. Now, teams will add plays, add different calls in another series. So they're putting that in their book. And matchups and combinations. So that's what they're going through, and who can't guard who, and who can guard who, and who can we take advantage. All that conversation is being had in the coaches' meetings, and they're watching a zillion footage of film. And you could go, and if you're Dallas, you get home and you break down the film, and you go, listen, we make our free throws and a couple open threes, we win the game. Let's focus on that. Or if I'm on the side and I see how Luka's getting blown by, it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I get Luka and I might show him, hey, Luka, you got to just stay in front of him a little bit. Just play defense a little bit. So I used to tell Dirk all the time, just play a little defense. You'll help us out. Okay. So all that's going on. But for the players, it's pretty much routine. If you're hurt, you're getting treatment almost all day long, 24 hours. Because trainers come to your house, hook you up with a muscle thing or a ice pack or whatever they're doing, they're massaging them, so that you're getting treatment. Really, you're going to practice because you have to. You go to practice, for an hour or so. You go through your stuff, you do some shooting, then you got to meet the media. It's another hour, and then you go home or get treatment.
What can they do? Will they try to come up with something to get Kyrie going? Or is this kind of just on him to just play?
Well, if I was in the staff, I would be looking at what did he do last series against Minnesota to average 28 points a game. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to say we need to do more of that, okay? And then when the time's right. And, that's what I'm going to look at, stuff like that. I'm going to tweak some of that stuff. And I'm telling you, you can see that, Luka had what, 31, 11, and 11 last game, But, we need more from our other players. And then I got to find a way to get Lively, who's playing like a rookie. He's all frustrating. He's yelling at the refs. He's making stupid fouls at half court. He's playing like a rookie. So if I'm on that staff, I'm getting him in the video room. I'm saying, hey, I know you're a rookie. You really helped us with the last series. We've got to get you back on track. Look at this stupid foul. You can't do that. Look at you're yelling at the refs all the time. Relax, just play. It's going to be okay. Stuff like that. But there's all kinds of little adjustments like that, but nothing big. And the players really don't have much of going on except, practicing a little bit, talking to the media, resting, and getting healthy.
Yeah. Hey, Mo, we got to give a shout out as we head down the home stretch here. Feels like we just got started and we're almost done. And just acknowledge the passing of the great Chet the Jet Walker. For some of you guys that aren't familiar with the NBA in the 60s and 70s, Chet was a terrific shooting guard, small forward for the. He won a championship with the Philadelphia 76ers, and Wilt Chamberlain played in Chicago with the school at Butler, uh, and he was part of the Players Association, Mo, and helped negotiate contracts for the players. And he was in on the conversations regarding the merger of the NBA. But I remember him a little bit as a kid, and he was a smooth player. Chet the Jet Walker, 84 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me because they're my brothers. There's only like 2,500 of us over the whole history of the NBA, and I see guys like that. And we lost Bill Walton last week, and I saw him last summer here in Vegas at the Retired Player Association, and I've seen Chet at the same events. And it's tough because you see your brothers passing away, and we just need to, and young players, please, please, please remember and go back and look at YouTube, even though it looks like it's underwater and it's terrible graphics. Look at players like that and how they played and what they gave to this game. Like the great Elgin Baylor. I mean, he was phenomenal. Look at his stuff. I think the history of the game has been lost a little bit, and it seems to me like people in the NBA today think that the game started, in the 1999 or something, or 2000. That's when they think
Right.
no, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. It's a history of the game that's been lost, and that anybody out there that wants to do a series or something, do that, the history of the NBA, and do it right, and talk to some of the players, that we're losing slowly now, so you can get that on tape. So, the game was played at a high level for a long time. People out there, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, though they did a great service to the league, they weren't the start of the league. Wilt Chamberlain, Dr. J, Clyde Lavellette, all these players. Come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, Derek got this great comment. Kyrie Irving will be okay, Mo. It's all mental when he plays in Boston. The playoffs start when the opponents went on the opposite uh, floor.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Derek. I think he was playing it really cool, but I think it affected him more than he let on. And I think he'll play better. And I know I was just looking at this. They're shooting right now as a team. They're shooting 24% from the 3-point line, and they're going to shoot better. Those guys are going to shoot better at home, and they need to get in the open court. But Kyrie has to come up big, and if he does, I think Dallas wins the next two. If he doesn't, then the series is probably over.
Yeah. Hey, get your questions and comments in. Thank you, Derek, and make sure you reach out, man, because we would love to get you on the show. Remember, everybody, we're here on Mondays on Sports Fluid. We got next Ricky Hampton and Paul Mokeski. I had an amazing moment with Mr. Walker, Wilt Chamberlain, Walt Hazard, Sonny Hill, Philly legend. All those guys share some great wisdom to me as a young player at the 1984 Bel Air Hotel.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and I think back then, I'm sorry, I'm old. I'm 67 now, but I think back then, I mean, my rookie year, I joined the Houston Rockets, who, had Calvin Murphy and Rudy Tomjanovich and hell, Rick Barry and and Moses Malone, all these guys. I just, I would go out to happy hour and get some nachos with those guys and just listen to them talk. I mean, it was just it was unbelievable. And I think now with social media and everything. I don't think that happens a lot. And I think more NBA teams should have some veteran guys on their roster that can still play. They can help the younger players learn how to play the right way. And I think they should also have veteran guys on their staff that could be around the team. That I'm telling you, once you start, and Derek, once you start listening to some of these stories of, I mean, I know they talked about how they traveled by train, and shoot, we used to play 3 games in a row. But they played 5. You know, I was lucky enough to play against Wilt Chamberlain after he had retired, and I still was in the LA area getting ready to go to Kansas, and we played at Pepperdine. We played pickup against a lot of pros and that, and then afterwards, Wilt took us to a pizza place right on the ocean there, and with pizza and beer, and he would buy everything and just tell stories. And everybody, I'm talking about Lakers and Clippers even back then, would sit around and just listen. All that knowledge and experience. And I think it's being lost anymore.
Hey, Mo, do you think that's why the Heat kept Udonis Haslem on their roster for so long?
Absolutely. Number one, great pro. Number 2, players respect him. Number 3, he could still play a little bit, 5 minutes probably. But he was a mentor. And number 4, he had respect of his players, and he loves Spoelstra. So when you have someone like that, a player like that, sometimes in the locker room, a little mumbling goes around, and he, hey guys, shut the hell up and do what he says. I've got rings that prove that. Just shut up. So
Yeah.
he's one of those guys for sure.
Hey, you told this story before. I don't know if our friends at Sports Fluent has heard it, Mo. Your rookie year in Houston, the great Hall of Famer Calvin Murphy came up to you and said, "Hey, Rook."
He's like, I was trying to make the team. I just want to be the 12th guy. I want to start my career, and they're all veterans. And I could score a little bit and do all that, but Murph, after like the first 2 practices, he saw how big I was, and he used to call me Tonka, as in Tonka truck. He said, "Hey, Tonka, come here. Hey, you want to make this team, Tonka?" I said, "Yes, sir, I want to make this team." He said, "All you got to do, Tonka, is set picks for me. That's all you got to do to make this team." So all training camp, I just went around, set a pick for Murph, set a pick for Murph, set a pick for Murph. And before you knew it, 2 weeks later, I made the team.
I love this story, Mo.
And it started my 12-year career.
Hey, 12 years later.
I ended up setting picks for Isaiah Thomas, for Sidney Moncrief, for Junior Bridges, a lot of guys.
Hey,
for Derek
Stevens, I set
picks for him.
Those some good guys to set picks for, man.
Yeah, they are.
Hey, did you? I'm sure you ran into Calvin over the years because he's called Houston games for years.
Yeah, I saw him. It's been a while because he doesn't come to a lot of retired things. But I saw him in Orlando when the All-Star game was there years ago, and they have a brunch for the retired players, and I think they honored. I can't remember who they honored. I think it was Bill Russell's like 90th birthday or something like that. And Murph was at the banquet, so I got to introduce him to Linda, my wife, and we just cracked up.
Hey, and Derek says, "Don't forget setting picks for Mark Price."
Pick and pop, baby. That's what I did. Pick and pop.
Man, Mo, this is such a fun hour, man. This is such a joy to be able to do the show with you every week and always learn new stuff about this great game of basketball. And you never stop learning stuff.
No. Yeah. I mean, if you stop learning, that means you're dead. Unless you shut yourself off. Like coaches and players, a lot of coaches and players think they know everything. No, you don't. You can always learn something. And sometimes that little something, when I was coaching for 20 years, I would watch games, or I would go to games, or go to the summer league, and I would see like an out of bounds play or some kind of little thing that I'm going to put in my book,
Yeah.
I went from, when I played, we ran a lot of sets, X, Y, Z, do this and do that. But then as I coached and matured, I learned the draw and kick and the open concept from, coaching Jamaican national team, coaching Great Britain, watching Spain, watching Lithuania do all that stuff. I'm like, wow. Well, if I ever get a team I can coach, I want to do that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, we got to get out of here. John McLaughlin, happy birthday, 81, great for Milwaukee.
Oh, man. Johnny Mack, baby, Milwaukee Buck.
For Paul Mokeski, I'm Ricky Hampton. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week. Peace, everybody.